excited. I have two Integrate for Good team members on our call today. We have Nikki, our community engagement and fundraising coordinator, and Erin, who just moved from Ohio to work for Integrate for Good. She just moved here on Sunday, on Father's Day. So she is very new. We're so excited to have a growing team here at Integrate for Good. So I'm going to start the way we start every presentation, and that's with our vision, mission, and values. Those guide every decision we make, everything we do, and some pictures and stories along the way. So our vision, we want to create a world where differences are celebrated, similarities are recognized. We envision a future where we engage people with disabilities based on strengths, abilities. We're the opposite of your charity-based mindset or pity model. If you're old like me, you remember the Jerry Lewis telethon. We're the opposite of that, right? We don't want people to look at someone with disability and feel pity. We want them to look at someone with a disability and think, there's my next great hire. We want people with disabilities included in our economy because we all benefit when that happens. So our mission, what we do every day toward that ultimate vision, and it doesn't want me to advance here. Let's see. I'll
You
just,
might need to put your slides in
I'm
present.
not in present mode, am I? There we go. Okay. So our mission, and that picture, let me just go back to our vision for a second there. That's a picture. We have a partnership with Pico. You would not think Pico would want you to save energy, like to save money on your Pico bill, but they do because they want to minimize the impact on the grid, on the energy grid. So there is a program called the Energy Force Ambassador Program. This is our third year. We've been partnering with Pico. They pay us so we can pay people with disabilities. We do a whole full week-long training down in the city at the Pico headquarters, and then people with disabilities get to represent Pico in the community and educate consumers, whether that's a residential customer or commercial customer, about how you can save on electricity. So they learn all about lighting and ways to keep, you know, the AC from leaving through your windows and all kinds of things. They get very educated in these energy related things. And then they're seen in the community for experts sharing this important information. Our mission. So the picture you see here is one of our recent Empowerment Lab graduating classes. And I'll talk a little bit about our programs in a second, but our mission here, we are disability inclusive. We empower. If people say, what does Integrate for Good do in one word? What do you do? I say empowerment. That would be the word, one word I pick. So we do that through really three main channels. That's inclusive volunteer opportunities, leadership opportunities for people of all abilities, and equitable employment. We don't believe anyone with a disability should work at less than minimum wage. People with disabilities are the only people in our country not covered by minimum wage laws. So it's still legal to pay someone with a disability less than minimum wage, which to me is mind-blowing, but it's something we always work on. So we're committed to equitable employment. It's a social justice issue to us. Our values. So you see one of our paid team members here on the right, Kara Cushing. She's one of our community engagement coordinators, and Mel is one of our volunteers. You might recognize the U and the colors. That's Ursinus College, one of our big partners in the community. We have 5 core values that, like I said, guide everything we do. We are bold. We take on challenges. We take on things that seem impossible. We show others what is possible. We are collaborative. We don't do anything unless it's in collaboration with another nonprofit, a for-profit company, a library, a senior center. We don't do anything in isolation because we believe we're better together. We show up with enthusiasm. One thing you'll notice about me and my team, we love what we do. People probably shout that out most about us. Sometimes we have to dial it down a little bit because it might be a lot for people to handle, but we are passionate about disability inclusion. I wake up thinking about it, I dream about it, I go to bed thinking about it, and it happens all in between that time. We're inclusive, of course. That's a huge core value of ours. And a core value of ours, very important, is we operate with transparency. All of our financial information is available on our website. We believe in honesty, open communication, respect. We live in a cancel culture today. People are afraid of getting sued. They're afraid of saying the wrong thing. They're afraid of offending people, afraid of like getting called into HR. And we believe that what that is kind of a unanticipated consequence is people ignore other people. Like, I don't want to say the wrong thing, so I'm just not going to talk to you. I'm not going to look at you. I'm not going to. And that is unfortunate because then we lose the power of diversity in our community. So we really try to get people into, some hard but good conversations. So moving, am I not in, there we go. I keep taking myself out of present mode. Just in the interest of time, I can make this presentation available if anyone's interested. Just a few pictures here. We do corporate events. So we'll come out, this is Philadelphia Insurance Company. And we will come out to companies and engage your team, whether you have 5 people or we also work with Dow and Merck and some of the big guys in the community. We'll engage your team in corporate team building through corporate engagement, through inclusive volunteerism. People with disabilities on our team come out and lead that. We have different projects we can bring on site to you. So if you're looking for your team to volunteer, and maybe you have the barrier saying, most of our employees might take public transportation to work. So it's hard for them to drive to, say, a local soup kitchen or somewhere. We bring all the volunteering, all the materials you need, the staffing, everything right on site to your company. We'll jump right into your training room, your conference room. We've also arranged like off-site locations for companies. If you have a mostly remote team and want to bring your team together in person in a meaningful way, that's another reason why companies will hire us. Hey, we're doing a corporate training day. We want to have like a 2-hour give back component. Can Integrate come out and be part of that? Absolutely. So some of the things that make us different, the Giant Company just reached out to us for Autism Awareness Month, which some of you know was April. And they said, will you train 100 of our managers at Giant so that we can have a more welcoming, diverse workforce, neurodiverse friendly. So Jackson here on the left is in our leadership incubator. So Jackson and I met, we created this presentation and presented to 100 managers of the Giant Company, which was like a huge, exciting time. And he got paid really well for that. So he was excited. He's starting Villanova University's in a V United program this fall. So he was excited that he has some spending money for the college bookstore at Villanova. A few more pictures of our Young Professional Advisory Council and some of the work we do at Ursinus. We are moving. So right now I'm coming to you from the global headquarters of Integrate for Good, and that's my bedroom corner. This is where I have lived for, I've lived in the house for 20 years, but Integrate for Good has lived here for 7, and it's time for Integrate for Good to move out. So it's been great having, your business in your bedroom, but that gets old after a little while. So this is our new building. If you're familiar with if you're local to Montgomery County or familiar with Montgomery County, we'll be up right on Germantown Pike across from Methacton High School. It's Worcester Township, Montgomery County. We're in the back of this building. This is Gary Volpe, Volpe Enterprises, and we have the back of the building. We are planning on moving in July 1. So that is what we're right in the middle of right now. If anyone likes to help move, assemble furniture, things like that, we will give you pizza and adult beverages to help out with that. So these are the 6 core programs we'll have running in the community, but also at our site. Empowerment Lab is our signature program. We are known for Empowerment Lab. It's the first one I created. I can't pick a favorite. These are my children, so I can't pick a favorite program, but Empowerment Lab ranks up there. And the deliverable of Empowerment Lab is a digital portfolio. As an occupational therapist, I realized in school districts in Montgomery County for about 30 years, I'm dating myself now, I realized that people with disabilities, young people, were graduating to the sofa, graduating to the basement, playing video games. 80% of people who live with autism who want to work are unemployed. And that affects our economy. Not only does it affect them and their family for sure, we're missing out. We're leaving talent on the sidelines of our companies, and it's not good for business. You get diverse thinkers, diverse problem solvers when you have people with disabilities on your team. I know I do. So Empowerment Lab, the deliverable is like a resume on steroids. It's a digital portfolio. We have photography, videography. We showcase these young people in action so that as an employer, you can see how they can add to what you're doing. They get business cards, the QR code links to their portfolio that we host, and then they can share who they are. We have digital testimonials that are embedded in there so you can hear other people talking about that student. And if you're interested in any of these programs in more detail, we're certainly, thrilled to meet with you at another time to share more. Just quick highlight here. Leadership Incubator. This program is one of our newer programs. We just graduated these young people, our first cohort. People with disabilities traditionally and historically just don't get opportunities to lead, and we wanted to fix that. So we run a Leadership Incubator 12-week program on all the skills that are important for employment, creative problem solving, conflict resolution, effective communication. We have 12 themes in 12 weeks. In the summer, we run it in 6 weeks, longer days at Ursinus College. Opening doors on campus, we have 5 college and university partners where we have inclusive volunteering going on every week when fall and spring sessions are happening. Corporate engagement, I mentioned. At our new site, we're going to have lunch and learn opportunities. So people with and without disabilities can talk about what they do, share with other people. People can connect with a more diverse network. And then inclusive volunteering happens at many of our other programs. So I don't know why it's not letting me move this along here. What I'm going to do is just skip to the slide here about how you can get involved. I'm just going to move my Zoom people over a little bit. So we operate, we have a growing staff, but a still small but mighty staff. And we have an amazing board of directors. So you might know as a nonprofit, we're that twin engine jet, the strong board, strong staff fuels us forward. We have many wonderful committees that are led by some of our board members. So if you want to get more involved with Integrate for Good, here are a few ways to make that happen. You could serve on a committee, and I'm going to shout out Alan Skolnick, who's on this call. Alan, we connected with through networking. He has jumped in. He is a phenomenal board member of ours, and he also chairs our governance committee. So we have 4 committees where we're looking for people to help. Alan's committee is one, which is governance. We have a finance committee. We have an events committee. And then we also have a business development committee. So I'm happy to share more about those. You can also learn more about them on our website. There are other ways to volunteer. You can jump in and volunteer time for an hour. You can make a more long-term commitment like Alan has, being involved with committees, board service. We also have a Young Professional Advisory Council. I can't see all the Zoom faces here, but it's from 21 to about 40. But if you're young at heart, you're welcome as well. And they have a lot of fun networking together. You can follow and share on social media. That is how people learn about Integrate for Good, is just kind of this organic sharing. And then also, no family with a disability, child with a disability ever pays for Integrate for Good programming. We scholarship everyone because we know families are dealing with enough. Individual, corporate, and grant gifts are what fuels our work forward. So we're able to maintain that. So making a gift on our website is very easy and incredibly meaningful. And we invite all of you to attend our Community Hero Celebration, which we do every year. This is our 4th. It will be at Rivercrest Country Club, October 24th. And our guest speaker is Danny Bowman. If any of you are on Netflix and you watch Love on the Spectrum, Danny is the star of that show, and we're bringing her in from California. She is unreal, owns her own animation company. It will be a phenomenal night of celebrating community. All of this you can learn more about by visiting integrateforgood.org. So with that, I know I threw a lot at you for time. I did want to open it up for any conversation or questions, and I'll stop sharing so we can see everybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bev. I know a lot about your organization, but I love hearing it again. Refresh my memory, but also just the passion you have for it and the impact you made is pretty awesome. So thank you again. And if anyone has any questions for Bev, feel free to shout them out.
And if there's anything, Alan, Nikki, Erin, anything you would like to chime in with that I didn't share, feel free. I know Erin is only your second or third day here on the job with us, but you're jumping right in with both feet. So just want to open it up and invite my team to share as well as anybody else.
Yeah, man, I'll just say it's a great group to work in. There's a lot to do. And you don't have to do a lot. You can come in and just join one committee or just do one thing or come out to one event and see what it's like and just volunteer. You'll catch the bug for sure. But yeah, you don't have to commit to a lot. We can just use you on any event.
Yeah.
One question I have, Bev, is like, if you own a business or you have some sort of practice, and let's say you want to hire someone or explore having an employee who's, let's say neurodivergent, how do you go about knowing what would be a good fit, or, vetting what services you have that someone could take advantage of? Like, if you don't know, how do you go about that process of trying to figure that out?
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the things we like to say in the autism community in particular, we're not disability specific, so we support people with Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, other disabilities. But in the autism community, which really relates to all people with disabilities, and really all people, period, is if you met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. It's called a spectrum for a reason. And one of the most important things is, and why we have, kind of that transparency as one of our core values, is just open, honest communication. So if there's someone you think would be a good fit, and people with autism can do all kinds of work, people with disabilities, all kinds of work. People look at our website, they are shocked to know that my director of technology, who's my longest standing employee, Nick, started with me when he was 19. He's 26. He's full-time with full benefits. He doesn't even have to pay money out of his paycheck for benefits. He lives with autism, muscular dystrophy, social anxiety, learning disability, learning differences. He's a genius. He's a rock star. He saved us from fraud. People look at our website. They're like, who created that? And I'm like, you would not believe someone who was told he was not college material and could teach any college course, could run any IT firm. He's a king of cybersecurity. So I would say, just being open-minded. One of the things that I like to shout out Wawa for doing this on job applications. One of the two things that we encourage companies to think about. One is when you require a college degree for a position, you're going to be leaving, and you might need a college degree. For example, I can't function as an occupational therapist without being degreed and licensed. But for many other jobs, you don't necessarily need a degree. And sometimes companies will call us, we have some jobs to fill. Do you know anybody? I'm like, hey, send me the job description and I'll see. And right up there, 4-year college degree required. And I'll ask them if that's why it's there. And if it needs to be there, I'm not your HR department. I'll respect whatever you say, but the answer I hear most often, it's the way we've always done things. It's a template. And I said, well, then I wouldn't have Nick. And I always say I'd fire myself before I ever fire Nick. And Integrate for Good would never have survived without Nick, honestly. So I can't imagine if I would have left that talent outside the door if I was looking for someone with a degree in marketing. So I would say, as welcome as you can be to shout out Wawa on a Wawa. I don't know if any of you have ever applied to work at Wawa, but on the Wawa job application, right on the application, it says, we value diversity, we value neurodiversity. And right there, what would you like to disclose? We want to know you. When you work here, we want you to be able to bring your whole self to work. We don't want you to have to mask parts of who you are. So when you're open and honest about that and identify yourself as a neurodiversity friendly workplace, and then just open yourself to learning. Whenever we work with companies, we will always, I'm not an expert in autism. I can have a lot of letters after my last name, but I don't live with autism. So whenever I present, I'll have someone who does live with autism co-present with me, whether that's Down syndrome, whatever it is. I'm never going to be an expert. I don't live with it. So that's a big thing, is just saying like, we welcome you. We want to get to know you. Companies also are afraid, what if I hire someone and it doesn't work out? Fire them. You can fire people with disabilities. It happens all the time. There's no problem with that. You treat a person with a disability according to your HR procedures. You write them up, you do whatever you need to do. People with disabilities get fired just like other people do. Do some people sue you? Some people without disabilities are going to sue you. Like if you have good HR policies you can fall back on and you've documented, you're good. So that's the thing. People are just so afraid of not knowing everything. We're saying, just ask that person what works for them. We do a training in micro accommodations. Some people think accommodating someone with a disability is expensive. Most people don't need accommodations. And some that do, it doesn't cost anything. It might be like, hey, it helps me to see the agenda before a meeting so I can be prepared. It helps me to see minutes after a meeting, so I have that to make sure I didn't miss anything. That's just good universal business design for all people. So yeah, we're happy to talk to any company that's like sticking their toes in the water, and we love to connect businesses to other businesses in your industry who have maybe started it and are a little bit further along. So it's that peer-to-peer conversation. Hey, this is how we tried it. These are some of the things we ran into. This is how we solved those problems. So sometimes within industry or cross industry, peer-to-peer connections work really well too. We love to make those connections.
Awesome. Awesome. Does anyone else have any questions?
I've got a question. So are there in this area, are there a lot of businesses that offer inclusion like that and look for guidance?
More and more. So we're thrilled to see that. I mean, I've been doing this a long time. I mean, even, before I incorporated Integrate for Good, we did not see it before. I would say really in the past 5 years, there's been a boom, with companies like, SAP, Dell, there have been Boeing, are some of the big, it's almost that early adoption curve, where you have people will stand in line for the iPhone like the day it comes out, and then you have people who are like, oh, let me wait and see how other people get, the kinks out. The companies that started early are now like such a strong advocate that other people can look to. So yeah, I mean, SEI is a big one in our area. Wawa, Giant, in all different industries. One of the things we look for are jobs that are more of like that have a career path. It's fine to start by bagging groceries or pushing grocery carts back to the store, but we don't want people with disabilities to stay in that role for a lifetime unless they love it and that's what they choose. So we're always looking for how can you see differently. And one quick example from Giant, when we did their training, they said we had someone stocking the beer in the beer department at Giant, and the guy above him quit without notice, and they were stuck. And they had the gentleman with autism who was their stocker. All of a sudden, they said, let's see what he can do with an Excel spreadsheet. And they said there were no problems with their inventory. Everything started checking out. People with autism tend to be very detail oriented. We don't make a lot of assumptions, but that's one that's pretty common. And they said, we gave him this opportunity by chance, but we were blown away. And this young man is now being able to tell people, he's like, I'm the beer guy at Giant. Like, what a cool job to like brag about to people. Like, I'm the beer guy. But they started having him interact with vendors. So presuming competence and realizing that people that might think differently are probably going to elevate your work, encourage you to think in different ways and improve and grow. But we're seeing more and more, which is very exciting. But again, we still have that 80% unemployment rate. So we have a long way to go, but we're on a good path.
That's awesome. That's awesome. This has been great. Let me put that out there. Does anyone else have any other questions? I don't want to push us too fast.
Yeah, I guess I got one little question for Bev. Like when it comes to raising money and everything, is there like an area that you have a donation area or donation button on your website where we can give back and help you guys kind of continue to reach what you guys are shooting for? That
is my favorite question ever. Yes,
Nailed it.
we do. Anywhere
right.
you go on our website, the donation button never moves. It's on every page by design, thanks to Nick. Yes, so a couple ways to get involved with that. One is, individual donations for sure. We love that. We also have this sponsorship opportunity coming up. So with our Community Hero Celebration, we love to highlight businesses and individuals in the community who share our passion for this work. So if you go to the website and you look under our, we changed the name from Gala. We felt like Gala seemed very stuffy. So it's the Community Hero Celebration, same event that we've done in the past. We improve it every year. And there are opportunities to kind of stand out for what you stand for by sponsoring. And then you'll see all the media opportunities that you'll have because of that, shouting you out, everything from our website to social media, table tents, screen at the event, all those kinds of things. So you can click donate, or if you'd like to do a more formal sponsorship, we have those opportunities as well. If you go to our website and click donate, you'll usually see it should connect you to a chance to double your donation if your employer does a matching program. So sometimes you'll have an employer match. We can help you figure out if your employer does. We also take donations from donor advised funds. Some people have money they've already set aside that they then want to allocate out. So plenty of ways to donate. And we stretch, I think in our breakout room, we were joking around that Bob stretches dollars and we stretch dollars too. We don't have a lot of overhead. For 7 years, we've had virtually no overhead. So money goes exactly to where it's needed with Integrate for Good. And we're really proud of that. So love that question. Thank you. We're so grateful for people who financially support us and people who support us with their time and talent as well.
Awesome.
I just wanted to jump in real quick, Zach, and just say,
Yeah.
first off, thanks, Bev. That was an excellent presentation. And you've come a long way since we first met. Your organization
Right?
has just grown dramatically, which is awesome. And that's a testament definitely to you and your team. And I saw that with your leadership program, I saw one of the people in there was Jake McFarland,
Yes.
who we had Jake and Angela present for us a couple years ago. And they're also awesome. So it was cool to see him, that he was in your program, and the amazing work they do. So I love the collaboration too that you guys get involved with other organizations that have similar missions. So it's great to see.
We partner with Variety, with Jake, with the Perkiomen Valley Brewery, with the So Much to Give Cafe. If you haven't been there in Cedars yet, we encourage you to visit our friends there. Yeah, Jake actually was our community hero last year, 2 years ago.
Awesome.
2 years ago. And being able to recognize, yeah, last year was Collegeville Italian Bakery, also a very great neurodiverse employer. But yeah, recognizing Jake, we take a video crew out with volunteers and surprise our community hero. So surprising Jake was hard because he's on that end unit there and it's glass. So we're trying to sneak around with signs and balloons. And because a lot of people with autism have excellent visual acuity and always know visually what's going on, Jake was like, hey, look at these people trying to come into, he's like, we have customers. And I'm like, oh, Jake, I don't even know if they're coming in here. And I'm like, oh no. But yeah, Jake doesn't miss a beat. But recognizing them was huge because we were there the day they received their proof of 501c3 status. And to be able to celebrate with a new nonprofit that is expanding opportunities for people with disabilities. Jake's amazing. And I'm so thrilled you featured them because we're huge fans of what they do.
Absolutely. So thanks so much, Beth. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for having us again. And thank you to Navitas for getting involved with this as well. We're big Navitas fans.
Indeed. Yeah, I echo what Chris said. It's been fun to see and the progress, and congrats on the new space. And I know you're going to grow even more. So again, great things from Integrate for Good. Make sure you folks are checking out their website and figuring out how you can get involved.